Hey everybody, Derek from Crua. Today is where the rubber hits the proverbial roasting hot road. I'm in the Lone Star state of Texas. I'm just outside Austin on my way to Windy Point Park. It's between 100 and 110 degrees outside. That's about 40 degrees Celsius. And I'm going camping. I'm going to test the Crua system, see how comfortable we can make it, compare it to a couple of other systems, and hopefully we can learn a thing or two along the way about camping in extreme heat or even heat. So I'll keep you up to date in this video, so tag along. Wow, we're getting close. Hi from a very hot Windy Point Park. Beautiful though. I've set up the core with the reflective fly sheet. I've set up the duo with the reflective fly sheet. I'm now going to measure temperature in there, let it settle for a while with our ambient weather station. I'm highly recommended. So this the first test is just compared to outside, what's the temperature inside, just with the reflective fly sheets. Outside is last we measured between 100 and 105 Fahrenheit, heading towards 40 Celsius. As you can see, the sweat is eek. Okay, here we go. So you'll see there, we've just started to pick up the tree. It takes a little while for it to settle. There we can see, now we have it. So the 116 is the one in the sun, and the other two are inside in the tents. But we're going to let them settle. They're going to be a little bit all over the place for a while, so let's settle and see where they end up. The 98, the lowest is in the duo, in there. Temperature 2 is in the outside, so that's 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about right. It was about what the temperature, or the forecast for today was the low 100s, I think. And then inside in the core is more or less the same, it's 101.5. So we just go around to validate those. So yeah, that's our 100.4, 101.5, correct. 98.8. As I said, I'm thrilled with those results, to be frank. Normally inside in a tent, if it was 100 degrees outside, you'd expect it to be about 120. In a tent that's with a wall, a full wall, not a mesh tent, they will be cooler. We'll be testing those later. But as we can see there, we can maintain temperature with the outside temperature, or even drop it a little bit, as is the case in the duo, and that's without even using the Culla yet. Absolutely thrilled. So far so good. So next thing, we're going to put up the two Cullas, see if they make a difference. Going to close up the Culla, and it is 101.7 when it's going in, so let's see, can we maintain or improve that. Now there's nothing for it while we're waiting this time but to have a bloody beer. So they say, when in Rome, Rome with them. Lone Star beer, not bad. First time. I'm normally more of a kind of an IPA person, hopsy, but this in 100 degree temperature, we'll take it. Well done, Lone Star. What a place it is here. This is a lake. Lots of diving goes on here. I think we might see them in the morning. There's been a lot of wrecks put down here, purposefully, and there's even some sculptures even, not sculptors, hopefully. Some sculptures even down there as well. So I'd go for a bit of a snorkel tomorrow. Brought the mask anyway, so we'll go and have a look. Certainly will help to cool down in the morning, maybe even tonight. Whew. Okay, so this is settled. So you can see in number 1, which is again the Duo and the Crucoon, 97 degrees, air temperature 97.9, air temperature 99.3, so we can actually keep it cooler in there. And 100.6 inside in the core and the Culla, which is similar to without the Cullas temperatures wise. So it's good to see that we can maintain the lower temperature. Now next step, and we've given it plenty of time to settle there, so I wouldn't expect that to change enormously. It's as we expected. Next step now is, here we have a zero breeze, which is an AC unit, a mobile camping AC unit. We're going to put that into the Cullas in both situations, and let's see if that makes any difference. So this is specifically for just camping, AC when you're camping. So this is how we're going to change the temperature inside. Obviously insulation is going to just maintain a status quo. It's going to stop or slow hot air or cold air moving from one side to the other. So let's see if it can be effective with the zero breeze. Okay, here we go. So I've purposely kept it back a little bit. I don't want it obviously blowing straight up in the thermometer, it wouldn't be accurate. So these are the exhausts on the back, which you can use with, or you can use the zero breeze with or without them, I believe. By the way, we haven't been given this, we've bought this product, so just in case anybody thinks we're trying to do an affiliate or something with zero breeze, absolutely not. This is just to find the optimum when camping in real extreme heat. So as I said, not blowing straight up in the thermometer. We're going to give it a while to settle and see where we can get the temperature. This is the Crucoon, the Duo, the reflective fly, and zero breeze. Cool. Okay, so we've just turned on the zero breeze. Number 1 is where the zero breeze is, inside in the Culla, Duo and Duo reflective fly sheet. Number 2 is the air temperature outside, and number 3 is the Culla inside in the core, which is similar. Okay, so we're going to give this some time to settle, obviously, and we'll see where it gets and where it settles down. Also, just to be clear, in testing the AC unit, we have no affiliation whatsoever with Zero Breeze. I just became familiar with them because they ran a Kickstarter Indiegogo some years ago. Seemed to be going okay, so there are other options obviously with AC and air movement inside in mobile situations. Zero Breeze was just the one we chose. Could have chosen others. So just to be clear, there's no affiliation between Crua and Zero Breeze. This is just completely field test. It could have been in the AC unit. Could even be a makeshift homemade AC unit. I've seen people being able to do that with ice cooler boxes, etc. So we just picked this because it was more convenient than going to that. But that might be another video, creating our own AC unit with a cooler box. The only thing is I'd have to cut open my Yeti. That ain't happening. No, that ain't happening. Now, I'm not one to toot my own horn, but toot toot. Anytime you can drop 20 degrees like that just by using a mobile AC unit and your Crua, of course, that is a result. So now we're going to move. First of all, we're going to close up this Culla, take out the Zero Breeze, see how long it can maintain that temperature, and we're going to move the AC unit into the core, which has the Culla inside, and see if we can get similar results in there. Here we go. We're starting at 100. This is the regular Culla. Again, same thing. Gotta keep it out a little bit and point it to the side, just so it's not blowing directly up on the thermometer. Close this down. So again, turned slight angle, exhaust out. So let's see what happens here in the Culla, which is inside the core with its reflective fly. So again, time there 17:06. 77 is maintaining inside in the Crucoon and the Duo, even after taking out the Zero Breeze, which is great. 99.3 is still the air temperature, and 100.8 is the pre-AC inside here. So let's see where they go. We'll give it some time to settle. Big part of our USP in business is, performance when you need it. So Crua has to perform, and to be able to see that we can drop the temperature by about 20 degrees Fahrenheit with a little mobile AC unit, and the Crua obviously is superb. So we're going to be doing a lot more of this, showing the product, testing the product, showing people it in the field. We also have an R&D unit in Tralee that we're going to be getting up and running very shortly. It'll be able to heat and cool as we need it, but also some field testing like this, obviously. we've probably neglected. We haven't probably. We have bloody neglected it over the last while, and I'm a bit annoyed with myself for that. But I'm really getting back into it. I guess I was on this kind of fundraising cycle for so long that I left it slip for myself. So I'm going to be getting back doing a lot more of this, testing the product, optimizing the product, improving the product, seeing ways like we're doing today with an AC unit that it can be adapted. And we firmly believe in it, so we have to show people. Show, don't tell. Show, don't tell. Show, don't tell. It's also a focus on sales. I think we, dare I say it, almost evolved like a tech company. And again, I'm annoyed with myself like that, where we're obviously very conscious of the tech and the data and everything. At the end of the day, it's about selling, and it's about developing a product, which is what I just talked about, that people want and solves a problem, and then selling it, showing them how all the tech in the world isn't going to work, and all the fancy marketing in the world isn't going to work unless you get back to basics. Okay, so the moment of truth for the Culla this time. So here we go. We got it down to 77 as well, 97 outside, so the air temperature outside has dropped a degree as well. But 77 degrees, so it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit lower than outside air temperature in the shade. That would be even higher, but we've moved the thermometer into the shade. 96.3, so the Duo has maintained, with the Crucoon has maintained the temperature below outside air temperature, which is great again. But we've gotten the Culla inside in the core down to 77 degrees, 77.4 degrees to be precise. So it's kind of settled at that. It's leveled off a little bit. Gonna give it a few more minutes, then we'll turn it off, take it out and see how it maintains its temperature. Not sure if you can get this noise, but there's like a cricket noise in the trees. Not sure what it is. Reminds me of Dermot was walking through the warehouse when he was here a couple of weeks ago and saw a rattlesnake, believe it or not, nearly stepped in a rattlesnake in the middle of our warehouse here in Austin. Only for Chris saving him. So he owes him one, I guess. I don't think these are rattlesnakes, thankfully, but just wondering, what the hell are they? Can't be crickets. They've been going on all day. The Culla is putting up a really good battle here, keeping the temperature down. We're still in the 80s. And I had the door open for a considerable time as well, which was kind of my fault. But as you can see, it is 6:10 in the evening, and the air temperature in the shade is still 97.3 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so there are the final temperature tests. Like I said, 97 degrees outside. Still 91 in the Culla, 96 in the Crucoon. Here we have over here, perfectly good Basspro tent. Nice tent, nice little tent. We're going to test this. It's a summer tent, so it's a mesh in a lot of the roof and the door. I'm going to open that up, see what temperature gets up to inside there, and we're going to use a Culla inside in that and see how we get on. One of the USPs of the Cullas and the Crucoons is that they can be used in a number of different tents. So if you already have a good outer tent that you like, you can always just supplement it with your Crua Culla. So I've moved the two. Number 1 is the Basspro tent. Number 3 is the X tent. And number 2 is still outside air temperature. So I'm just going to compare the two of those now over the next while, see because they're both summer tents. I have them both set up in a similar area over there. So no Culla, no AC, no nothing, just their own natural state. See where they end up over the next half an hour or so. We'll keep an eye on it. Again, just to see how the different designs work. As I said, the Basspro tent is a perfectly good summer tent. Just want to see how the X tent maintains temperature against it with the reflective fly sheet, and we'll see what the difference is. Okay, we'll check back in. Okay, so last results of the day. Outside air temperature 94.3. So for some reason the time and date have reset themselves here. I think I knocked it off the power bank, and as soon as the power comes or goes, it seems to cut or reset itself. Anyhow, 94.3 outside, 104.4 in the other branded tent, which is interesting because it's a summer tent. It's about 10 degrees hotter inside than outside, which is kind of what you'd expect, though. It's probably about 10% higher inside. The X tent is performing well, 97.7 inside, and just above outside air temperature. So happy with that. Just turned on again, still a little bit of AC coming in the corner, and the temperature has gotten down to 74, which is fantastic. Hopefully that keeps going during the night. So I'm just going to move it up here so it's not in the too close to the AC, but I have to say the whole unit is looking, or the whole Culla is quite comfy. Okay, just wanted to check in. Last check-in before hitting the sleep. 74 degrees. AC is still popping a little bit down there, just on its kind of night thing, whatever they call it. So I am now going to sleep. Good night. Good morning. It's the morning after. So I had a really good night's sleep. Maintained in the 70s pretty much all night, even after the AC unit cut out. So the battery obviously didn't last the whole night. It did help though, for sure. So this morning isn't as warm yet. So I'm going to actually start to clean up camp a little bit, tidy up. Then I have a couple of more tests to run once the sun gets a little bit higher. Might even sneak a swim down in the lake there first, and then run our last couple of tests, and we'll be done. Start collating all the data, and we'll summarise as well at the end. Cool. So we were exploring the idea of a cooling topper for sleeping in the heat, similar to what you'd have in the mattress at home, I guess. So this was Rev 1 that was done for us. Lots of work left to do on this one. No good. Really minimal impact. So back to the drawing board with that, I'm afraid. I think there's something in it, but this is just not the solution. Okay, day 2. The air temperature, as you can see, is 87.1. That's channel 2. Channel 1 is in the Basspro tent, is 91.2 degrees Fahrenheit. And then the X tent is 87 degrees. So that's kind of first thing in the morning. So the X tent is again keeping pretty consistent with the outside air temperature, which is great. Basspro is doing okay as well, just a few degrees higher, as we saw yesterday. And we're going to do a test today of moving the tents into the sun and see how they perform in the sun, where we can put how high the temperatures will get to. So out of the shade into the sun. Okay, so that's the 2 tents. You see them over there. We're going to give them a few more minutes, then we're going to add the Cullas and see what the temperature will maintain at with the Cullas inside. Okay, see you then. Don't think I've met this guy before. Gonna have to move him on now, but interesting looking guy. Any ideas what his name is? Hello. I realise I'm in your patch, but I'll be gone shortly. Day 2 Crua testing. It's about 10:30 in the morning. It's already 7.3 air temperature. So here we can see what we're starting with. The air temperature is number 2, 87.3. The X tent is under the air temperature, which is great, 86.7. And the Basspro tent is 90.1 degrees Fahrenheit. That's them over there. So the next thing I'm testing is I'm going to put a Culla and our Crucoon. We saw they worked similarly last night. So we're going to put a Culla in one, a Crucoon in the other, to see if that has any effect on the temperature relative to the air temperature. Then we're also going to take the reflective fly sheet off the duo and put it out there in the heat, out of the shade. I would expect a huge heat gain in that. So just again to compare, if you were using the reflective fly sheet, which keeps things roughly on par with the outside air temperature, which is great, and obviously provides the shade. Okay, some quick fire tips for camping in the heat here in Austin in 100-degree weather yesterday. What have we learned? Right, number 1, get into the shade. Don't be like this guy, whether you're using Crua or not, whatever tent you're using, get into the shade. It makes a huge difference. It's the difference, same if you're standing in the sun versus standing in the shade. Get into the shade. If you don't have trees like this to get under, bring a shade with you. Bring some kind of a reflective fly sheet or an extra fly across the top to give yourself that extra shade. Could mean 20 to 30 degrees of a difference Fahrenheit. Number 2, reflective fly sheets. If you have, this is an aluminized fly sheet, so obviously the brighter your fly sheet, the better. We all learned that in school, but this is an aluminized fly sheet which has an extra reflective value, insulating value that will reflect the sun off a little bit better. At least have a white or a very, very bright fly sheet to go over your tent. Very important. There are different types of tents. This is an X tent, so it's a mesh tent. This is really a summer tent, but it can batten down the hatches and be used for all season. If you think you're going to be camping a lot in the heat, a mesh tent would probably be more advisable, unless you want to use it as a 4-season tent. Then if you want to use it as a 4-season tent, you can get a solid inner sheet once you have that second reflective fly sheet for over the top. Okay, so these are pretty much settled now. You can see 92.7, sorry, the air temperature first of all is 88. That's it over there as well, in the shade. That's number 2. Number 3 is 88.9, which is in the X tent. It's staying pretty consistent again with the outside air temperature, which is great. And that's with the Culla inside, and the Crucoon inside of the Basspro is staying consistent with what the Basspro showed us without the Crucoon. So nothing really there that we wouldn't expect. Things are staying pretty consistent to when they were using them without the Culla, and that's really important for us to see that using the Culla in the heat doesn't create any more heat gain. Very, very important to make sure the warmer air can get through the ventilation system, etc. So all as we expected, good to see. So now we're going to get the AC unit and start working on both of these and see what difference it makes. Also, when you're camping in the heat, you can see there already the amount of heat gain when you're out of the shade versus when you're in the shade, and when you have a darker fly versus when you have a brighter fly. I know which tent I prefer to be in. 2 other things. Number 1, drink water, I mean. And the second thing is, if you have to do some work around the campsite, try and do it early in the morning or when the sun goes down in the evening time. A lot of this is common sense stuff, but you know, you sweat quite a bit in the heat when you're just moving stuff around. So if you can set up camp very early, or else leave the heavy work until the sun goes down a little bit, especially if you don't have the shade. It certainly would be advisable. Now, final tip when camping in the heat, don't forget the beer, because you have that time to fill in between. You know, like I said, do most of your work early or late. What are you going to do in between? Now, the one thing though, on a serious note, if you're in really hot conditions, this stuff will dehydrate you even further, so take it easy on the beer. No problem with a couple of beers, whatever, but take it easy. Don't be overdoing it in the extreme heat. And otherwise, enjoy your camping. So we've set up the AC here again in the Culla in the X tent. We're going to give it about a half hour. We'll do the same with the Crucoon in the Basspro tent, and let's see how they compare. I'm also going to take a temperature once the sun comes out from behind that cloud again, inside in the tent that is out in the sun completely with no reflective shade at all. So there are our last three items to test today. I'm going to mark that as our air temperature 88.3, just because I want to use this other thermostat to see what the heat gain is in the tent in the sunshine. Okay, so 88.3, it will rise ever so slightly from that over the next half an hour again, but it's rising slowly because there's a little bit more cloud cover today. So I'm going to mark it 88.3 at 11:38. So the heat gain, if you remember the air temperature we marked at 88.3, so you can see the tent, which is the duo out there with no treatment and just out in the sun, has increased in temperature to, which is number 2, because that's the same thermometer we were using for the air, for the shade. It's now 98.4, so it's increased by about 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's been in a short period of time. We can see that the AC with the Culla is doing well. We're going to have to give that a little bit more time to equalise. That's number 3. Channel 1, which is the Basspro with the Crucoon inside, is still holding its own at 89.2. Okay, quick update. So channel 2, as you can see there, that's the thermometer we were using for the shade that we put into the duo, which is the duo out there in the heat with no shade. And we can see the heat gain there is up to about 99 degrees from 88, which is to be expected. 10 plus percent rather of an increase. Channel 1 is the Basspro tent with the Crucoon inside. It's holding its own relative to air temperature. Channel 3 is the AC with the Culla inside in the X tent. It's down to 79. We'll give them a little bit longer, but I wouldn't expect channel 2 to change much. It seems to have stopped at 99 for a while. So the heat gain on number 2, we'll call it at 99 degrees from 88, so about 11 degrees Fahrenheit. Quick update. Channel 2 is the duo in the sunshine. There it is out there. It's gone from 88 to 101, and that's, remember, a normal polyester tent surface wise, so we would expect that heat gain. The channel 3 is the AC to Culla, let's call it. So the Culla inside in the X tent with the mobile AC is down to 78 degrees Fahrenheit, which is great to see. It's still dropping. And number 1, which is the Basspro tent with the Crucoon inside, holding its own at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so we're going to call, I think, the channel 2, which is the duo in the sun. It's been pretty steady around the 101 for the last while, so we'll call that at roughly a 10 to 12%. We'll work it out afterwards, but roughly 10 to 12% heat gain. I'm now officially all tested out. Safe to say, conclusions are pretty definitive. Camping in hot weather, make sure you're in a Crua, and if you want to be really comfortable, small AC unit with the Culla, perfect. So I'm on the way home, battered, bruised, but very happy with the test results. My God, it was hot out there, but we managed to get our Cullas down something like 25 degrees Fahrenheit with the AC, which it turned out had no effect on kind of a regular tent, so it was worth it. Tough going, very warm, but I'm really happy with the results. So I'm flying home to Ireland tomorrow. Tonight I'm meeting a couple of friends, and I'm going to have a couple of beers. Okay, signing off from this video. We'll put a summary of it on the website as well of all the findings, etc.